the reflux of duodenal juice into the common bile duct and pancreatic duct. So there is a smooth muscle sphincter of Oddi which is present around the common channel. Besides this sphincter of Oddi, there are two other individual smooth muscle sphincters which are present around the terminal part of CBD, which is called as sphincter of Boyden and the main pancreatic duct before they join to form a common channel. So there is a one sphincter which is called as sphincter of Oddi. Beside the sphincter of Oddi, there is individual smooth muscle sphincter around the terminal part of CBD, which is called as sphincter of Boyden, and there is another smooth muscle sphincter around the main pancreatic duct. So what is the function of these individual smooth muscle sphincter? These prevent reflux of the pancreatic juice into the CBD and bile into the main pancreatic duct. So basically, at the terminal part of the CBD and pancreatic duct, there are two sphincters. One is around the common channel, which is called as sphincter of Oddi, and there are two other individual smooth muscle sphincters, which is, one is present around the terminal part of CBD, which is called as sphincter of Boyden, and another is present around the main pancreatic duct. So these are the sphincters which are present there. So you can see the anatomy. You can see this is the terminal part of the CBD and this is the main pancreatic duct. So they will join to form a common channel. So here this sphincter is sphincter of Oddi. So the sphincter which is present around the common channel is called as sphincter of Oddi. Whereas this sphincter which is present around the terminal part of CBD is called as sphincter of Boyden. And there is another smooth muscle sphincter which is present around the pancreatic duct. So these sphincter, they will prevent the reflux of this sphincter will prevent the reflux of pancreatic juice into the bile duct, and this sphincter will prevent the reflux of bile into the pancreatic duct. Because if these sphincter are not there, reflux of bile into the pancreatic duct can lead to pancreatitis. So these sphincter basically they prevent the pancreatitis. Now coming to the blood supply of the gallbladder. The blood supply of the gallbladder is by cystic artery. As you know, cystic artery is a branch of right hepatic artery. Right hepatic artery is a branch of hepatic artery proper. So hepatic artery proper is a branch of common hepatic artery. Common hepatic artery is a branch of celiac trunk, which arises from aorta. So cystic artery is a branch of right hepatic artery and it is given behind the CBD. And this cystic artery, it lies in the calloid triangle where it divides into two branches, anterior and posterior branches, and supplies the gallbladder. So blood supply is by the cystic artery. So you can see this is the aorta, abdominal aorta, and from the aorta arises the celiac trunk. After its origin, it will give a branch which is called as left gastric artery and the splenic artery. So after giving these two branches, it will be called as common hepatic artery. This common hepatic artery will give gastroduodenal branch here, and then it will continue as hepatic artery proper. हाँ जी
आपकी सैटरडे वाली क्लास
हाँ जी सैटरडे वाली है
वो कुछ कंटिन्यू हमारे लोग हम भी सैटरडे देखते हैं तो मैं सब क्लास में तो बोले हमारी क्लास चल रही है ठीक है सर
नहीं सर हम सैटरडे की जो पहले जैसे चलता था ना सर हमारी हाँ वही चल रहा था सैटरडे ठीक है सर थैंक यू So this common hepatic artery will give a branch which is called as gastroduodenal and supraduodenal branches, and then it will continue as hepatic artery proper. Hepatic artery proper will divide into two branches: this right hepatic artery and left hepatic artery. So right hepatic artery will give a branch which is called as cystic artery, and this cystic artery will goes behind the common bile duct in the calloid triangle, and then it will divide into two terminal branches, anterior and posterior. These two terminal branches, they will supply the gallbladder. So there are basically various anomalous origin of the cystic artery. So these are the various anomalous origin you can see this is the normal. Basically, it arises from the right hepatic artery and then it goes to the gallbladder. Sometimes it can arise from the common this hepatic artery proper and then splice the gallbladder. Sometimes it can arise more proximally. Sometimes it can arise from the hair also. So these are the different anomalous origin of the cystic artery. Why we should know anomalous origin of the cystic artery? Because while doing cholecystectomy, you have to ligate the cystic artery. So before ligating the cystic artery, you should know its course, because sometimes right hepatic artery can mimic as cystic artery, and you might ligate the right hepatic artery. And if you ligate the right hepatic artery, there will be various serious consequences of that. So to avoid that, you have to ligate only the cystic artery and not the right hepatic artery, right? So these are the various anomalous origin of the cystic artery. Out of all this, you should know what is Moynihan's hump. What is Moynihan's hump? This is the most dangerous anomalies where the hepatic artery takes a tortuous course on the front of the origin of the cystic duct, or the right hepatic artery is tortuous and the cystic artery is very small. This tortuosity is called as caterpillar turn or Moynihan's hump. So in the diagram, you can see sometimes you can see the right hepatic artery, this common hepatic artery or hepatic artery proper can take a tortuous course in front of the cystic duct. This is cystic duct. So here the hepatic artery proper, or sometimes right hepatic artery, it lies anterior to the cystic duct here because of its tortuous course, and your cystic artery is very small. So what is the harm? Because while doing cholecystectomy, you have to ligate cystic artery. So here you can ligate the hepatic artery proper, or sometimes right hepatic artery in the calloid triangle. So this is a anomalous anatomy. You should know what is Moynihan's hump. This is the most serious type of anomalous origin, and here your common hepatic artery or sometimes right hepatic artery will be dilated and tortuous, and it will lie anterior to the cystic duct. Otherwise, normally it lies behind the CBD, but in Moynihan's hump, it will lies anterior to the CBD and cystic duct. So here, while ligating the cystic duct, you can injure the hepatic artery proper, or sometimes you can ligate the hepatic artery, right hepatic artery or hepatic artery proper, leading to serious consequences. So this is Moynihan's humps. So now coming to the venous drainage of the gallbladder, superior surface of the gallbladder drain into the hepatic veins. Rest of the gallbladder is drained by one or two cystic veins which enter into the right branch of portal vein, and the bile duct they drain into the portal vein directly. So this is the venous drainage. Now coming to the another important anatomical structure, that is calloid triangle, because every surgeon should know what is calloid triangle and what are the various contents of calloid triangle. Because while doing cholecystectomy, most of the dissection it is done here, that is in the calloid triangle, because during cholecystectomy you have to ligate the cystic duct and you have to ligate the cystic artery which lies here. So the most of the dissection in cholecystectomy is done in calloid triangle. So what are the boundaries of calloid triangle? You can see medially by the common hepatic duct. Here the medial boundaries of the calloid triangle is formed by a common hepatic duct. This is superolateral. Superolateral is formed by the inferior surface of the liver and inferiorly by the cystic duct. So these are the normal boundaries of calloid triangle: medially by the common hepatic duct, superolaterally by the inferior surface of the liver, and infilled by the cystic duct. So these are the normal boundaries of Callot triangle. So what are the contents? Now coming to the contents of the Callot triangle. The normal contents are sometimes right hepatic artery, cystic lymph node of Lund. So there is a lymph node. Sometimes this lymph node can be single or there can be multiple lymph node, and these are called as cystic lymph node of Lund. Connective tissue, lymphatics, and sometimes accessory hepatic ducts and arteries. So this is a very commonly asked question. What are the contents of Callot triangle? So contents of the Callot triangle are right hepatic artery, cystic lymph node of Lund, connective tissue, lymphatics, and sometimes accessory hepatic ducts and arteries. Now coming to the lymphatics. So main lymphatics of the gallbladder is into the cystic lymph node of Lund. So the main lymph node which drain the gallbladder is cystic lymph node of Lund. So the other lymph node which drain are pericholedochal, pancreaticoduodenal, and aortocaval, and pericholedochal, hepatic, celiac, and para-aortic. So these are the various lymph nodes. While doing radical cholecystectomy, you have to remove all these lymph nodes. So you should know what are the lymph nodes which drain the gallbladder. These are cystic lymph node of Lund, pericholedochal lymph node, pancreaticoduodenal lymph node, aortocaval lymph node, pericholedochal lymph node along the hepatic artery, lymph node along the celiac artery, and para-aortic lymph node. So while doing radical cholecystectomy, you have to remove all these lymph nodes along with the gallbladder. So that was about the macroscopic anatomy of the liver. Now coming to the microscopic anatomy. Why it is important to know microscopic anatomy? Because in carcinoma gallbladder, the staging of the carcinoma depends which layer of the gallbladder is involved. So depending upon which layer of the gallbladder is involved by the carcinoma, there are various stages of carcinoma gallbladder. So you should know gallbladder has these 5 layers. The innermost is mucosa which is composed of columnar epithelium, and this mucosa secretes the mucus. The second layer is lamina propria. So lamina propria is the second layer. Then third layer is muscularis propria. Fourth is subserosa or perimuscular, which is consists of connective tissue, and outermost is serosa. So these are the 5 layers of the gallbladder, and you can see there is no submucosa in the gallbladder. There is no submucosa. So the 5 layers of the gallbladder are from inner to outer. The inner one is mucosa, which secretes the mucus. Second is lamina propria. Third is muscularis propria. Fourth is subserosa or perimuscular, and outermost is serosa. So if you see this diagram, you can see in cross section the innermost layer is mucosa. This is the mucosa. It is composed of columnar epithelium. Then outside this epithelium there is lamina propria, then muscularis propria, then perimuscular layer which is composed of fibrous tissue, and outermost layer is the serosa. So these are the 5 layers of the gallbladder. Now coming to the physiology related to the gallbladder. As you know, liver produces the bile. As bile leaves the liver, it is composed of 97% water. So main constituent of bile is water. Beside this water, the other constituents are bile salt, which consists of cholic and chenodeoxycholic acid, deoxycholic acid, and lithocholic acid, phospholipids, cholesterol, and bilirubin. So these are the constituent of the bile which leaves the liver. So what are the main constituent of the liver, 97% water. The rest are bile salt, phospholipids, cholesterol, and bilirubin. So, in normal circumstances, the rate of bile synthesis depends upon the fasting condition of the patient. In normal circumstances, when patient is taking normal food, most of the bile is sent through the hepatic and common bile duct to the duodenum, because in the duodenum, this bile is used for digestion purpose. So in normal circumstances, liver produce the bile and it sent the bile to the duodenum through the hepatic and common bile duct. But a small amount of the bile, about 30 to 50 ml of bile, is also sent to the gallbladder for storage. So normal capacity of the liver is 30 to normal capacity of the gallbladder is 30 to 50 ml of bile is stored in the gallbladder in normal circumstances. But so normally 30 to 50 ml of bile is stored in the gallbladder. And what is the main function of gallbladder? It concentrates the bile by removing the water. So the gallbladder removes the water from the bile and it concentrates the bile. So what is the difference between the bile which is produced by the liver and what is the bile which is present in the gallbladder? Basically, the bile which is present in the gallbladder is very much concentrated. It is concentrated 5 to 10 times of that which is produced by the liver. So if you see the color of the fresh produced bile, it is golden yellow, whereas the color of the bile which is present in the gallbladder is greenish. So sometimes you can see this bile. And this bile is coming. If this bile is yellow, it is coming directly from the common bile. But if the bile is dark greenish, it is coming from the gallbladder. So this is the importance of knowing normal color of the bile. So bile which present in the gallbladder is very much concentrated. So bile is required for digestion of the fat. So, and moreover, bile is a very powerful antioxidant which helps to remove toxin from the liver. So during fasting, the resistance flow through the sphincter of Oddi is high and the secreted by the liver is diverted to the gallbladder. So during fasting stage, there is increase in resistance in the sphincter of Oddi. Sphincter of Oddi will be closed. So because it closed sphincter of Oddi, the most of the bile which is synthesized will be diverted to the gallbladder. And in fasting, your gallbladder will be distended. Normally 50 ml, and during fasting it can distend up to the 300 ml capacity. So during fasting, your gallbladder will be distended. So this is the fasting state, the state of gallbladder when a patient is fasting. So the bile will be produced in the liver, and most of the bile it will be diverted to the gallbladder, and gallbladder will be distended. So this is when a patient is fasting. So what happens when patient is feeding? After feeding, when bile is needed to digest the fat, antral distension of the stomach causes both gallbladder contraction and relaxation of the Oddi, because there is a release of a hormone which is called as cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin is released, which causes contraction of the gallbladder and relaxation of the sphincter of Oddi. So after feeding, there will be relaxation of the sphincter of Oddi and there will be contraction of the gallbladder. Because of this, this happens because of cholecystokinin, which is released from the duodenum, and this cholecystokinin will cause gallbladder contraction and relaxation of the sphincter of Oddi. So due to this, the bile will move through the common bile duct to the duodenum, where it will mix with the food. And pancreatic juices, they are also added with this bile, and digestion will continue in the small intestine. So about, after digestion, about 95% of the bile salt, they are reabsorbed in the terminal ileum, which is called as enterohepatic circulation. So what is enterohepatic circulation? This is the reabsorption of the bile salt from the terminal ileum, and from this terminal ileum through the portal vein, it will go back into the liver. So this is called as enterohepatic circulation. So when a patient is taking food, there will be enteral distension here. Due to enteral distension, there will be release of cholecystokinin. So this cholecystokinin will cause contraction of this gallbladder and relaxation of sphincter of Oddi here. So due to which the bile will go directly into the duodenum. Here it will mix with the pancreatic juices, and then it will digest the food. So this is the normal physiology of the gallbladder. So what are the normal components? These are the bile salt, bile pigment, and cholesterol, and phospholipids. So what is the main function of gallbladder? As I have told you, one function is reservoir for bile. Second function is that it concentrates the gallbladder by absorbing the water, sodium chloride, and bicarbonate. And third function of gallbladder is secretions of mucus. So these are the three functions of gallbladder. Beside this, you should know what are the various biliovascular anomalies. As you know, there is a great variety of biliovascular anomalies which are there, due to which there are high chances of heterogenic injury during the cholecystectomy. What are the various biliovascular anomalies? Sometimes there can be completely absent gallbladder, and this can be because of agenesis. So there can be completely absent gallbladder. Sometimes there can be double gallbladder. Means normally there is one gallbladder, but sometimes there can be two gallbladder with one common or two separate cystic duct. So sometimes there can be two gallbladder with one cystic duct, or there can be two gallbladder with two separate cystic duct. Then there is a anomaly which is called as Phrygian cap. What is Phrygian cap? Here, a gallbladder, the gallbladder will have one wall shorter than the other. Because of one short wall, the fundus will fold over the body. So you can see this here, one wall of the gallbladder is shorter and one wall of the gallbladder is larger one. So due to this, this fundus will fold over the body, and this will look like this cap, which is called as Phrygian cap. So this is a anomaly of gallbladder. So these are the various congenital anomalies which can be related to gallbladder. You can see there can be two gallbladder having single cystic duct. There can be two gallbladder. One is draining into the right hepatic duct and another is draining into the common bile duct. So these are the different. This is separated gallbladder. Means there will be multiple septae in the gallbladder. This is outpouching of the gallbladder, diverticulum of the gallbladder, right? So these are the various congenital anomalies related to the gallbladder. So these are the various congenital anomalies related to the cystic duct. This is the normal anatomy. Here, cystic duct is joining with the common hepatic duct to form the common bile duct. Here you can see, instead of draining on the right side, this cystic duct is draining on the left side of the CBD. Here, the cystic duct, it is going behind the common bile duct and then draining into the common bile duct. Here, the gallbladder is sessile. There is no cystic duct. This is sessile gallbladder. And here, you can see the gallbladder, the cystic duct is draining lower into the duodenum directly, right? So these are the various anomalies related to the cystic duct, and these are the anomalous origin of the cystic duct which I have told you earlier. So this is all about the anatomy related to the gallbladder and hepatobiliary system. In the next lecture, we will discuss what are the various radiological investigations which are required to diagnose various pathology related to the biliary tract. Thank you. Now you can mark your attendance. You can send your roll number. भेजिए.
आने लगी 181 ये अटेंडेंस लाके दूसरे मंडे ज्वाइन हो जाओ.
ठीक. अभी इसमें से पूछना हो कोई क्वेरी तो कहाँ से?
कुछ प्लान बड़ी प्लान.
If you have any query, you can send your message. I will answer that. अच्छा, फिर ये जो हमें कैसे मिलेंगे अटेंडेंस?
सर ये आपकी 1.5-2 घंटे बाद है ना, आपकी गूगल ड्राइव पे चल जाएगी ये शीट बन के. आपकी गूगल ड्राइव में ये रोल नंबर वाइज और एक वीडियो.
ठीक है.